Hi, I'm Sharon Tang, and this is the evening highlights. TNB is entering Turkey's growing power sector. The utility giant is buying a 30% stake in Ankara-based GAMA Enerji for $243 million. TNB is buying the GAMA Enerji shares from GAMA Holding, International Finance Corporation and IFC Global Infrastructure Fund Holding. It will be funded through a combination of internally generated funds and borrowings. TNB says the deal is in line with its 5-year international expansion roadmap. Its president and CEO, Datuk Sri Engineer Azman Mohammed, says Turkey is one of the largest power markets in Europe and power consumption has grown by an average of 6% every year for the past decade. He says the deal will enable TNB to grow its assets in Turkey and expand further into the Middle East and North Africa by pursuing acquisition opportunities. GAMA Enerji owns and operates a large portfolio of thermal, wind and hydro assets in Turkey, as well as a large water conveyance project in Jordan. It currently has a 840-megawatt natural gas-fired plant and a 45-megawatt wind power plant under construction in Turkey, which will go live in the second half of 2016. By 2017, it is expected to have a gross installed capacity of 1,027 megawatts in Turkey. As for the weakening ringgit, TNB says the currency won't pose a major threat to its earnings for the current financial year ending October 2016. That's because its US dollar-denominated borrowings will only be matured in 2025. TNB recorded 800 million ringgit in unrealised forex losses in its fourth quarter of FY15. But its CFO Faisal Rahman Zainuddin says forex isn't that big a concern.
From a business perspective, on a bottom line, impact on the forex actually does not have an immediate impact on the bottom line. Although just now I mentioned that when we look at our results for 2015 and 2014, there is this forex translation loss, right? The forex translation loss is because we have some US dollar borrowings, which is about 7% of our total borrowings. But that borrowing is only due in 2025. So basically, there is unrealized loss lah. Yeah, so we don't see that being a major problem because that will be something that we have to worry about later on in 10 years' time.
He does, however, concede that the weaker ringgit might have adverse impact on raw material costs, such as coal and LNG, key components in generating power. But he wasn't able to specify just how big the impact would be. The country's largest power company reported a 5.4% dip in net profit for FY15. Revenue was up 1.2%. Putrajaya is looking at extending a concession pact with airport rail link operator ERL by another 30 years. Otherwise, it's only got two options: concede to a proposed fare hike or pay 2.9 billion ringgit in compensation. On December 1st, ERL, which is YTL's 50% owned associate, said the new fare for a one-way trip between KL Central and KLIA and KLIA2 will be raised from 35 ringgit to 55 ringgit starting next year. It will be the first hike since the service commenced operations almost 14 years ago. Still, that's caused a major public outcry. But Prime Minister Datuk Sri Najib Razak has said he is powerless to stop the hike. This is because the revision is part of a concession deal signed by Putrajaya with YTL in 1997 during Tun Dr. Mahathir's tenure as PM. Domestic Trade, Cooperative and Consumerism Minister Datuk Sri Hamzah Zainuddin leapt to Najib's defence today.
Saya minta rakyat sedar bahawa ini bukan kesalahan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri sendiri. Kalau dalam perjanjian, dia kata kalau tak naik, tak bagi dia naik. Pada tahun ini, dia tuntut 2.9 bilion ringgit concession. 2.9 bilion ringgit itu adalah satu jumlah yang besar. Atas kebijaksanaan Yang Amat Berhormat Perdana Menteri, dia minta supaya UKAS dapat bincang semula dengan ERL atau pihak concession ini untuk tarik balik 2.9 bilion, buat perjanjian yang baru, hapuskan 2.9 bilion tetapi kita panjangkan tarikh concession dia 30 tahun lagi. Maka selepas ini tidak ada lagi compensation yang dibenarkan oleh mereka menuntut kepada kerajaan.
AirAsia boss Tan Sri Tony Fernandes certainly couldn't resist a dig at ERL's move. He said on Twitter today that the train service is a great but expensive product and that it was now cheaper to fly. HSBC Amanah Malaysia's Muhammad Rafi Muhammad Hanif will be the CEO and Executive Director of CIMB Islamic Bank and the CEO of Group Islamic Banking Division from January 4th, 2016. The post has been vacant since Badli Shah Abdul Ghani resigned in August. The lender sent out a statement by its Group Chief Executive Tengku Datuk Sri Zafrul Aziz today. He says Rafi is a proven leader, having been an Islamic banker for the last 15 years. Zafrul said that he looks forward to working closely with Rafi to put into motion the plans that will further cement CIMB Islamic's leading position in the global Islamic banking arena. Rafi has helmed HSBC Amanah Malaysia for almost 5 years. He has worked in major financial markets including London, Dubai and Kuala Lumpur. His predecessor Badli Shah resigned after making a controversial Facebook post related to the financial woes of troubled 1MDB. CIMB shares closed down 1 cent or 0.23% at RM4.43 today. That's a market cap of about 37.8 billion ringgit. And over at DRB-Hicom, Datuk Sri Syed Faisal Alba, Syed ARabba, previously the CEO of Malakoff Corp, Gas Malaysia and NSTP, is the new Group CEO. He is replacing outgoing Group MD Tan Sri Muhammad Kamil Jamil. Muhammad Kamil will reach the retirement age of 60 years in January next year. He will relinquish his position on March 1st. Syed Faisal will take over the reins and assume overall management responsibility and control of DRB-Hicom. The conglomerate is principally involved in automotive manufacturing and distribution. It assembles cars for automakers including Tata Motors, Honda, Suzuki, Mercedes-Benz and Volkswagen. Its other core businesses are in the services, property and infrastructure sectors. At 5 p.m, DRB-Hicom was trading at RM1.20, down 1 cent from yesterday's close. And that wraps up the evening highlights. I'm Sharon Tang. Thanks for watching.